You're listening to Brandon Sports Talk, interviewing professional athletes and Paralympians and Olympians. And now for your professional athlete interview and your host, Brandon P. Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Niagara Associate Head Women's Lacrosse Coach, Coach Amy Rhodes. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college women's lacrosse?
After I graduated from college, I was like a little burnt out on lacrosse and college athletics, but I really wanted to stay around sports. And so I spent the year working for the NEC as an intern. And I quickly realized that I was not going to be someone who sat at a desk all day. And I was lucky enough to work for a club coach in the New Jersey area, the Metro lacrosse program. And that was like the best part of my week. And I loved being on campuses when we would go for like championships and stuff when I was with the NEC. So I quickly realized I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back into the sport. And so I was like, okay, this is it. So I was really lucky that there was an opening actually at one of the NEC schools at Wagner College. So I started my career as a GA and I have not looked back since.
What was that experience like for you as a lacrosse player going to Holy Cross to play?
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm sure a lot of people always say like I wouldn't be where I am without my sport. And I was a decent student in high school, but lacrosse definitely took me to an institution where I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity without lacrosse. And I got to Holy Cross and like just completely immersed myself in school and lacrosse and like everything that the Holy Cross had to offer, and that was awesome. And I got to meet all kinds of people. I came from Michigan, so I didn't know like a ton of people on the East Coast, and just getting to meet them and having all these new experiences was awesome. So it was a great 4 years, and I'm super grateful that was my college experience.
For you, what was that experience like putting on that Holy Cross lacrosse jersey and representing a prestigious program like Holy Cross?
Yeah, it was really special. I grew up in Michigan back in the early 2000s, and lacrosse was not not a big sport. I played like my sophomore year in high school. We played um, the first year it was sponsored by the High School State Athletic Association. So um, I kind of came from nowhere in terms of, lacrosse and its popularity. So to be able to, achieve the goal of playing at the collegiate level was so special. And I had such a great group of teammates at Holy Cross. It was just so fun and, something I look back on really fondly. And, you still, as a coach, you get the same feeling, that first game day of every spring when the girls put their uniforms on for the first time, and it's so special to see them and the pride that they have in the program. And so it's something I get to relive a little bit every year, but it was super special and something I look back on so fondly.
What were some of your collegiate accomplishments as a lacrosse player at Holy Cross?
I was so lucky that I had the opportunity to start and play almost every minute of my college career, which was really, really unexpected when I went in, and it was really cool to be able to do that. But probably the biggest accomplishment was that I was named captain my senior year. Um, I was able to win a lot of personal, like individual accolades my junior and senior year. But it was definitely being captain that was like most special to me. And, yeah, I talk about it now with the girls. Being captain is the hardest job you'll ever do. And it's probably one of the least fun jobs you'll ever do. And you don't really realize that when, you're just an underclassman and you're like, oh, the captains are doing this, that, the other thing. And um, then you get into that role and you're like, holy shit, this is so hard. um, but that was like a big accomplishment for me, and a privilege to represent my teammates and kind of be the voice of the team. Um, but I was named Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year. Excuse me. I was named Patriot League Goalkeeper of the Year. It changed to Defensive Player of the Year my senior year. But I was the goalie of the year my junior year. I was Player of the Week multiple times. I was on the all tournament team my junior year. But all that stuff was great, but the biggest privilege was to be named captain my senior year.
What was that experience like for you going to Wagner and starting your coaching career as a grad assistant?
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. It was awesome. That first year I was there was really cool. Um, I had a great coaching staff. Everything was just so new and kind of finding your way and finding your voice. And um, that group of girls on that particular team was a really really special group, and I still keep in touch with quite a few of them. It was really funny. In 2023, I my son was born, and one of the girls on that team had her daughter 3 days later. So it's been really fun to kind of like have that relationship with some of the girls now that they're moms or they're in coaching or they're like being professionals. So that team is like a really special one to me. So I was just kind of finding my way, and I was in school, and I was a 23-year-old living in New York City. So it was it was great. It was a fun time. I could not handle that at 35, but at 23 it was really fun.
What was that experience like for you getting to travel to England and Scotland to coach?
Yeah, that was a really really interesting experience for me. That was the first time I had actually been abroad to Europe. And a friend that I had met through coaching had emailed and asked if I had wanted to go with her, and I got to coach tons of different athletes, and we got to see things from the perspective of the teams we played there, and we also got the opportunity to sightsee and experience the culture over there. And that was an experience I obviously wouldn't have had without lacrosse. And we talk a lot about it in our program that um, if you give to the game will give back to you. And for me, it's been so true that um, lacrosse has given me so many opportunities that I wouldn't have had. I mentioned like Holy Cross in and of itself, that academic experience I wouldn't have had, and um, getting the opportunity to travel abroad now a couple different times because of lacrosse has been so special.
What was that feeling like going to Kennesaw State and becoming a first time assistant coach?
Yeah, so it was really different. Like it was so different to live in the South. That was somewhere I never thought I was going to have the opportunity to live, and immediately immersed myself kind of in like the Southern way of living, which was really cool. Again, a great group of girls. It was a new program, so that was a little bit different, and it brought different challenges and different experiences. And you're kind of teaching them like how to be leaders and how to how a lacrosse program works at the collegiate level. And so it was very unique at that point in my career. I had never kind of had that experience of a new program before, but I had a great head coach, and I worked with a great assistant who we were on Zoom with her yesterday talking through a couple offensive sets. So what was so special though about my experience at Kennesaw State was the people I met there. Still some great friends from our strength coaches there, to people, other support staff who I'm still in touch with today. It was definitely like the people made the whole athletic department run, and that was really cool. So great to still carry some of those relationships and friendships from that period of my life.
Coming to Niagara, what was that feeling like becoming an assistant coach for them?
Yeah, it was awesome. I again, relationships are so much a part of what we do in collegiate athletics. So a friend of mine who was also a good friend of Wendy, our head coach, mentioned that I was looking to make a move, and Laura was like, you like would get along great with Bundy. I think you'd be a wonderful asset to the program. And she was looking for somebody with goalkeeping experience. So I kind of fit the bill there. And Laura connected us, and here we are, friggin' 10 years later, I'm still here. So um, it's been a great fit for me, and building the program with Wendy has been so much fun. She will tell like recruits and anyone when she took over 13 seasons ago. The program was a little bit of a like forgotten mess in terms of like it was a part-time coach. They were playing Division 3 schools and not winning. Like there was just a lot that needed to kind of come into the Division 1 lens. And she had a great start, and then 3 or 4 years later, I joined her, and we're here, which is awesome. So it's been really fun to build, and again, the people have just been incredible that have come through our program, our support staff, assistant coaches, um, the girls, their families, they've just been phenomenal, and I couldn't ask for like a better place to be.
What were some of the things that you accomplished as an assistant coach before making that transition to becoming an associate head coach for them?
Um, I don't know. I don't always necessarily like view being an associate head coach and an assistant coach like any different. Like Wendy and I have a great working relationship where like we each kind of handle different things within the program, and but at the end of the day, like we come out as a united front to the team, and we have like long conversations, and make decisions that are in the best interest of the team. So um from that perspective, it isn't really any different than the role that I have now. And I'm sure as you've talked to many different college coaches, that like assistants, whether they're associate head coaches or not, wear many different hats. And we always joke that it's like, oh, today I'm a travel agent, today I'm like a career counselor, like I'm a psychiatrist, like I'm a mom. Like you always kind of have those multiple hats that you wear, and um for me that hasn't changed at all. I think the thing that I accomplished most and that I'm like most proud of is the relationships that we've built within the program and with the girls, and their families. And that's kind of like the biggest cornerstone of our program is it's a completely like relationship based program, and that's something that we're really proud of.
For you as a coach, what was that feeling like stepping onto that lacrosse field at Nigeria?
Yeah, so oh man, I was probably wearing winter boots, I can tell you that for sure. So it's obviously a little chilly up here, but no, it's been really fun, and we have so much pride in what we do, and being able to build the program, and from where we started, you're like, oh, this is great, and then you like get to the point we're at now, and you're like, oh my gosh, we've come so far. And it feels kind of like people say this about having kids all the time, that like the days are long but the years are short, and that's kind of how I feel about where I started here, and now we've got where we've gotten to now. There have been days that have been really long, and there have been times where seasons have seemed really long, and but they never last. We always talk to recruits about the season starts in February, and you blink and it's April, and you're already playing in like the conference tournament and stuff, and those days always go by really fast, and there's never enough time. But there's also days that are super long and feel really hard, and from where we started to where we are now feels like a blink of an eye. But it's also been like you look back and you're like, man, we've worked really hard to get here, and that's really gratifying.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've helped to build for Niagara's women's lacrosse program?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned before, we're very much a relationship based program. And for us, that's, kind of how we do everything. Um, Wendy and I both have backgrounds in education. My master's that I got at Wagner was in higher ed, and Wendy taught high school before she started in college coaching. So we both have pretty like significant education backgrounds. And working with 18 to 22-year-olds is unpredictable at best. And so we feel as though like when you have a good relationship with the girls and with their families, and um, you're able to be a lot more successful, um, just because you know them, and you know them at like a much deeper level than just kind of, oh, she's a midfielder from Rochester, New York. Like, no, she's got three siblings and this is what she's passionate about. And her weird hidden talent is this. And this is how she best receives coaching. And this is what motivates her. And while that is like a time consuming way to coach at times when there's a million other things to do, it's something that's super important to us. And building, starting from there and kind of building up has been, kind of how the blueprint of how we built this.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a coach versus for your athletes?
Yeah. Well, usually I will meet Wendy for breakfast somewhere. And we'll like come in and, like I said, as a coach, you wear many hats. And for me, that usually means meeting the visiting team and getting them all set up in their locker room and making sure that they don't need anything. And occasionally it'll mean like you're part of the facilities or the grounds crew and getting the goals out, making sure that like everything's ready for the field and for game day. And um, we have our pregame time in the locker room. The girls have their time, and then we come in at the end. And after that, it's kind of up to them. So they're not gonna we're not gonna change anything major on game day, and we got to trust the training and commit to the game plan. And usually, it's kind of as soon as we get out on the field, it's kind of their show. So I'm there to like help tweak and encourage and receive feedback and help them kind of make smaller adjustments in game. But it's kind of up to them, and they're the ones on the field. It's not me. So um, that's kind of what game day looks like. But it's the most like quintessential part of game day is definitely a good breakfast and a strong iced coffee.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
Yeah. So on a much smaller scale, the MAC has kind of continuously added teams with the conference realignment and stuff. Obviously we're not the Pac-12. If the Pac-12 is still a thing, I think they are. It's been a wild week for them, I know, but we've been able to add some teams this year. Merrimack and Sacred Heart are new in our conference, so that's exciting. I would say that like Siena and Fairfield have been two of our like biggest rivals in conference. That's usually who we are like squaring off against come tournament time. But our biggest in conference rival is definitely Canisius. They are down the street. It's kind of us up here in Western New York, and then everybody else is much closer to the city and in kind of the like New York metro area. So we've got a pretty good rivalry across the sports here at Niagara with Canisius, and we do have like a trophy that goes back and forth based on like who's won across the sports, who's won more games in any year. So the Canal Cup is in fact back where it belongs, up here on campus now. So that's always just like a fun game, just in terms of in-town rivalry. But definitely Fairfield and Siena have been two of our biggest competitors in conference. Every MAC game is competitive for us, and every game matters, obviously. But those are two of the probably more consistent rivalries in conference.
What is it like having that home game atmosphere when teams like Fairfield comes versus going to Southern Maine?
Yeah. So we always say that like we want to make it a hard place to play. We hear a lot from visiting teams. Do you know how far it is to come up here? Yes, we know how far it is because we make the trip every other game day. So we like to make it a difficult environment to play in, whether it be the weather, whether it be, we always want to start off the game on a really strong foot. And we're very, very lucky that Niagara is a place where the athletes support one another and their endeavors, whether it be baseball or hockey or basketball. The athletes do a great job of showing up for each other. And like I mentioned before, our parents and our like friends of the program are phenomenal, and they show up whether it's 60 and sunny or it's 32 and rain, snowing, windy. So we are super lucky that we've got such a dedicated fan base and wonderful families within our program.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective lacrosse players out there?
Yeah, so we're like right in the middle of kind of the first window of recruiting for the class of 2026 right now. So for us, it's really important to have good phone calls and get kids to campus. And we spend a lot of time getting to know them, whether it be over the phone or on FaceTime or on Zoom. And then once they get to campus, having the opportunity for them to kind of get the full picture of what it's like to be here, whether it be going to class, seeing practice, spending time with the girls, kind of seeing what a day in the life is like and what their life would be like here. For us, the speed at which we go about it is very different than probably an average Division I lacrosse team. We want the fit to be right, and we want them to be able to gather all the information that they want. And most of the time, that includes visiting other schools and taking other visits and talking to other coaches. We are unapologetically who we are, and that's like not really changing in terms of like the facilities we have and who we are as people, who the girls are. We want recruits to be here for what we have to offer, not because we told them they have to make a decision by 2 weeks from today. So that's something that's really important to us. And recruiting rules change all the time. It's such an evolving situation. So, but that's something that is really important to us, and not something we're going to change just because everyone else is. I would say that like some of the best people to come through our program have been people who committed on the later side. That's just kind of how it's played out for us, and it's worked for us, and we're not really going to change just because everybody else is doing it a different way.
What does that official visit look like? And for you as a coach, what is it like seeing them fall in love with the campus and the lacrosse facility?
Sure. For us, we do official visits a little bit differently. When girls come on unofficial visits with their family, they usually just spend the day with the girls and, go to class, go to have a meal with them, see practice, get some time to like chat with us, ask questions. Um, when we do official visits, it's usually in the fall of their senior year. They're able to all come to campus kind of as a group and like meet each other and spend time together, after they've verbally committed and they're about to sign their NLIs. Um, and we get to like invite their families, and their families all get to meet each other, and they get to meet the girls and spend the night with them and come to practice and have the opportunity to take pictures in the jerseys. And I know that's really important to them. So it's nice to be able to bring them all together like on one day once they've done the unofficial visits and verbally committed. So it's cool to see like their families start to get to know each other and meet the girls that they'll be spending the next 4 years with. And that part's really special just because you see like them as 17-year-olds, and then eventually you get the opportunity to see them graduate as 22-year-olds, and they are so different by the time they get to the end of their time here in the program. And they're real people, so that part's really cool.
As a coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen put on that uniform for the first time?
Yeah, I mean it's so special. Like there's always like a little bit of a different glow in the locker room the first time they put their jerseys on, for that first game day in February. And last year we were really excited because we were playing out in Arizona, and the girls didn't know, but we'd gotten new jerseys, and that was the first time we'd gotten new jerseys in like probably 8 years. Um, so Wendy and I went before to the locker room on game day morning and hung all the jerseys up in the locker room. And so when the girls came in, they were so surprised. So that was really cool, just like from the like surprise aspect. And they're kind of like an alternate. They're black, and we'd never had black jerseys before, so the all black look is very cool. And it was nice to be able to surprise them with something new for game day.
What is it like as a coach seeing them put on that jersey for the last time as seniors?
Oh man, it's hard. It's hard. It's you see it from a lot of different perspectives. You see it from that of a coach and how much they've grown as people. You see it from a player knowing how hard it was for you to put the jersey on for the last time. And now I see it like as a mom, like I have a 1.5-year old, and um, you kind of see it from that perspective as well, from a parent. And I look back at all the sacrifices my family made, and like how my parents have been so supportive, and um, not only as a chapter of your child's life ending, but like a chapter of your life is ending too. So there's so many perspectives to see it from. And I mean, I think that's at times it's going to be the last game, and other times you don't, like in a playoff situation. So I think for us, it's when it comes to that, it's like you treat it like any other game day, and you kind of go about it like any other game, and you always assume that you're going to come out victorious, and you prepare like you're going to come out a winner, and we try not to put too much of an emphasis on last. I know it's hard not to, especially as a player, to be like, oh my gosh, it's my last first day of fall ball. Oh my gosh, it's my last first day of X, Y, and Z. And we just try and keep them in the moment and stay present, and enjoy it, and stay committed to the game plan, and help them earn one more game. So um, that one's tough, just because you see it from every perspective, and you also like two feelings at one time as a coach, where you're like, stay focused, but also like, wow, this could be the last time. So that part's really hard, but also really special to see them grow up.
For you as a coach, what is it like seeing them go on into playing professional lacrosse for Athletes Unlimited or the US route, or even going into college coaching?
Yeah. So we have not had anyone yet go on and play in the US system or play AU. Um, but we have, like, they have friends that have, or they've had assistant coaches that have. Emily Harris coached with us for a year, and she's representing the US right now in the Box World Championship. So it's been really fun to watch her and cheer her on. And then on the men's side, Tahoka Natakote is one of our assistants here at Niagara, and he's playing for the Haudenosaunee men right now. So we're missing him, but we're really excited to watch them as they head into the playoffs of the World Championship. Um, and then when I arrived at camp at Niagara, one of our assistants, Alice Mercer, was playing in the U.S. system, and then Wendy was also the manager for the U.S. team my first couple years here as well. So it's really special to be able to see and meet some of the girls that are playing in the U.S. system, and to have kind of a front row seat to what that means, and um, just recognize like how special it is to be able to continue your career in that way and represent your country. And um, I had the opportunity to travel and watch them win a World Cup in 2017, and that was really really cool. And it's a lot of work. Playing at the next level is a lot of work, and we're very lucky that women's sports is kind of having its moment right now, and we hope to continue to propel that and make it even bigger by supporting the AU girls, and you know cheering on the US and the other international teams, so that it gets to be on big ESPN, and just continue to grow the game and get more opportunities for it to be accessible to more people.
What are some of your future plans for the program moving forward?
Yeah, so obviously we have the goal of repeating as MAC champions. For us, I think something we talk a lot about is continuing to close the gap with the top 10, top 15 teams. We had the experience last year of playing against Stony Brook in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Um, and now we know what it takes. And now we've had that experience of, putting the NCAA patch on our jerseys, and how big that moment feels. And um, we're not the new kids on the block anymore. And I think just taking those experiences and continuing to grow our program, and grow our name, and um, be able to show up in those moments, and compete are definitely goals that we have for the program, and to continue to put good people out in the world. We always kind of brag on the girls that people leave the program, and they're either in a profession that they're excited about, they're in coaching, they're into a professional school. We're so proud of of what they do and what they go on to do as people. So um, that's never going to change for us, is that we're sending good people out into the world who are passionate about what they're doing and are strong, independent women.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college lacrosse?
Oh man, try everything. Do the wall ball if an upperclassman asks you to do an extra workout. If an upperclassman asks you to do some wall ball, have at it. Learn everything you can from the upperclassmen and ask a lot of questions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and make big mistakes on the field. We always talk about, we don't care if you make a big mistake, but we care if you make it the same one over and over again. So making new and different mistakes all the time is something we talk to the freshmen a lot about, and um, probably a little different from what they've heard from their high school and club coaches. But we definitely encourage mistakes on the field here in our program.
What advice would you give those players that have aspirations of playing professional lacrosse, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or the U.S. route?
Do it. I think like be relentless in pursuit of like what excites you and what drives you, and if that's your goal, then get after it and learn from everyone around you, whether it be your coaches, whether it be your teammates, whether it be people who are already playing at the next level. Learn from them and see their drive and get after it.
What advice would you give those coaches looking to get into college coaching and coaching college lacrosse?
Yeah. Take every opportunity that you're presented, whether it's paid, unpaid, men's lacrosse, women's lacrosse, a completely different sport entirely. Every opportunity you can take to get in front of a group and teach and learn yourself is a great opportunity. So I would say that that's really where like I started to find my voice as a coach was through camps and clinics and just getting up and finding my own voice in front of kids and learning from those around me. um, it's hard. Coaching is hard, and coaching takes a lot out of you. It is mentally and emotionally and time consuming. But at the end of the day, it's very special to be able to look back and realize that you were a very special part of someone's life from the time they were 16 to the time that they were 22 or 23. And very, very few professions are like that. So I consider myself really lucky to have that opportunity.
Where can my listeners find you on social media along with the program app?
Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna say Niagara W Lax, or Niagara W Lacrosse on Instagram and Twitter, and give us a follow. We're always posting what's going on with the team and what's going on with the program there, and I think we have a lot of fun over there. So
Thank
my
you.
personal Instagram is mostly just pictures of my son, so not as exciting.
Thank you again, Coach Amy Rhodes, for your interview and best luck in your future as the Niagara's Associate Head Women's Lacrosse Coach.
Thank you so much for having me. Go Perp.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Amy Rhodes, for your interview and best luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.